Okay. So yes, what has been the insights from last sessions? Any questions, Shanti Bhushanji? What are the learnings so far? Any questions?
Yeah, the learning so far is that it's it's consciousness that we are not doing anything, and karma, it's the karma phala. There are something which is given to us in the current life. The puji, I do not know the exact Sanskrit word, and whatever we earn in terms of the karma, it's through whatever we do.
Who is this
And
we?
I'm sorry, I didn't. Yeah, I think we need to change our sentences and grammar.
Again,
So
we.
it's consciousness. Sivoham.
Okay.
I'm not the body. I'm not the mind. I'm the pure consciousness, and yeah, it's through karma only. And this is the life where we can actually understand and have Atma Jnana, so that we can be free from the cycle of rebirth and death.
Okay. Very good. Except the we part.
Yeah, I'm
Who?
somehow not able to put it in the right sentences because I'm so used to this we thing. So even if I try hard not to actually.
Okay. Okay. Biplab ji.
Pranam once again to all my friends and Krishnaji.
Pranams.
Uh, Learnings, what I'll say, I mean, like, as Shanti has said, like, everyone, the end goal is to get the mukti. And the path is to understand the consciousness and the awareness, which as we already started. And again, the sentence formation, the position and all, we are using we here just to form the sentence, not to what as in body. We are obviously not the body, not the mind, but the pure consciousness, right? So yes, that's it. I mean, like, we have to understand and move spiritually, progress ourselves to the complete consciousness, so that we get the mukti out of this life and death cycle.
Who has to get mukti?
Our soul, the desires, we have to get out of this senses, the desires which is there in this physical earth.
Okay. So see, there is no problem in confusing the I with the body and the mind.
Right.
But there's a big problem in saying we. So in the who all are included in the we? You said we have to get mukti. Who all should get
Okay.
mukti?
Right. I thought, I mean, like, souls like us, pure consciousness, everybody.
Us. Who is
Uh,
us?
Again, my acquaintances, family, or friends, whosoever, I mean, all should move towards this. If I preach, if I discuss this topic with anybody, so I include them with this thought that everybody also plans to move towards the mukti.
That you're not sure. No, they don't. For all you know, they might not want mukti. They might want, अरे अभी ऐश करना है माया को हमें क्यों फंसा रहे हैं इसमें? Right? How can
Right,
you
we should.
superimpose Atmagna on
Uh,
somebody else?
no, it's not about superimposing. It's about sharing what we are going through and the kind of, feelings and awareness we're going through. So it's always better to share good feelings. And if somebody is not obviously agrees, so I don't even pursue them, because you cannot push anybody to follow or to understand these things. Everybody has their own time, so, and happens in their own time.
So the first lesson is there is no we.
Okay.
in the journey of Atma Gnana, the teaching of Advaita Atma Gnana is there is no other. First of all, when you speak, you are saying, I am in illusion, I am bondage, and I am seeking mukti. Then there is second level of bondage. You say everybody else also is in mukti. Sorry, everybody else also is in bondage. This is like saying, तो आपने कुछ अच्छा किया. Then you always say, मैंने किया, I did it. If something went wrong, it's we did it. Okay, we as a society have ruined this country. We have to become better. But something अच्छा किया, मैंने किया, I did it. So you can't have two logics.
Correct.
So the Atmagnana logic is there is no other. The other is a mental concept. So we has no room in spirituality. We has a very special room in religion. Okay, so to uphold religion, you need we, because one person cannot do anything in religion. Religion is about it's a structure and rituals and so many things, which requires a we. Spirituality is only you, I. I have to understand, I have to hear, listen, and I have to realize. Okay, so it's okay to start telling, okay, now I am confused with body and mind. That is the only issue in we.
Correct.
Did you get the problem?
Yeah.
Yes.
So we have to get enlightened. When you become free, you will see that everybody is free.
Right.
The concept that everybody requires mukti is a part of your ignorance. समझ में आ गया? आप नशे में पी गए. So when you're drunk, the whole world looks spinning. It's as if it's moving. Nothing is moving. Only you're drunk. Especially people in Ireland will know. The land of whiskey and scotch and whatnot. The land of intoxication, right? Where are the others? I don't see them on video. Can you all come on video? Let's look at some Irish faces. So when you're drunk, you forget yourself, and also the world seems like it's moving. The street looks like it's moving. There are so many things flying around. Other people, you say, I am fine, you're drunk. सब कुछ उल्टा पुल्टा है. So the correction is only in you. Okay, when that happens, the vision gets fixed, not the physical eyes. The mind gets corrected. Then you will see. That's why Buddha said, when Buddha got enlightened, I think I told this in last class. So people asked him, what happened to you? What did you see? He said, I realized that the whole world is enlightened. There is no unenlightened being at all. So we are projecting our ignorance on people that don't exist, first of all. Okay, fine, let's assume they exist. Why are you creating ignorant people in your creation? Okay?
Correct.
So can you correct the sentence and tell the understanding again?
Yes. Obviously, you have very correctly said, like, it's a confusion between the body and the mind, and that's why the we thing came into. So it's always I who needs to correct and obviously get the absolute consciousness and awareness.
Okay.
And finally towards mukti.
Okay. Meenakshi ji.
Yeah. Hi, Krishna.
Hi. What is the learning so far? Any questions? What is the takeaway? Is this session doing anything, or is it simply a thought exercise?
No,
कुछ हो रहा है
I've
जीवन
changed
में?
thought once it started actually.
Sorry, what?
So balancing life
Okay.
taught me a lot. So balancing the family life, job life. So till now, I have some problems in my sleep. Like I used to think whatever I do in the morning in my sleep, I can see them. So this is what used to happen till now, but it's no longer happening. So I'm in peace.
Okay,
So
very good.
nothing disturbing me at the moment. So once it's a lot of change in me once the class is started
Very good.
and started exploring everything what's going in me.
Very good.
But I have a question, Krishna ji.
Yeah.
So enlightenment. What is exactly enlightenment? Removing all the desires from us, attachment, detaching everything from us. I have a questions at the same time I'm getting the answers, but I'm not satisfying with those answers. So Krishna taught this Gita for Arjuna. Can we consider Arjuna as an enlightened person?
Okay.
Because Krishna is enlightened. He is an Almighty Lord, so he can live his own life along with this enlightenment because he haven't detached any relation. But so far, whatever we have seen, so many enlightened persons who detached everything, their personal life, karma, moksha, everything. So, is this enlightenment?
Okay.
That's what I have some questions in my mind. I'm not too sure is it correct or not, but please correct me if I'm ignorant in this.
Sure. So we'll start the session with what is enlightenment, and we'll bring out all the perspectives. But first,
Yeah,
since you're speaking, what do you think is enlightenment?
yes, from my point of view, what is enlightenment? Is it detaching every relation or removing all the desires? Everything.
Okay, so all this is enlightenment. So you say detaching from all relationships, becoming free of all desires is enlightenment. That is your answer? Okay. Pratik, what is enlightenment?
Based on what I have learned from your sessions, I think enlightenment is knowing yourself, as in that you are not what you think you are. You're not the body. You're not the mind. You are pure consciousness, and to be self-aware of everything going on around. So it's not something. Yeah, as Nakshi said, that you have to get rid of your desires, and but it's more about that you're not awareness of everything, as in what is going around. You should be aware of everything.
Okay, so that's a very good definition. Awareness. One is to be aware that I am not the body and mind and intellect, I am the consciousness, and also being aware in general.
Yeah.
Very good. Pradeep, what do you think is enlightenment?
I too, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Namaste.
Yeah.
Okay. So I too feel the same, which Pratik said. Enlightenment is the one where we are like getting rid of me, I, and whatever the things are happening in the life is done by me. It should be like we are like life is just happening, so we are just actors on that, and we have to take the response like ownership, but not the doership. So if you continue doing it, I think you will be moving towards enlightenment. That's what I understand right now.
Okay, very nice.
Yeah.
Shanti Bhushan, what is enlightenment?
Yeah, I think Atma Gnana is understanding who you are, basically, and enlightenment is a step, beyond that. Who clearly understand Atma Gnana is perhaps, once we complete this session, we will understand, completely who we are, and it's oneness, it's one thing, Brahman, and things like that. But who is an enlightened person? It's like, Gautam Buddha, Maharshi Ramana, then Sri Ramakrishna, perhaps, who are the gurus, who are the path breakers, who show us the. So I cannot say I am an enlightened person. Perhaps that's what my understanding is.
Okay. Biplavji, what is enlightenment?
I think we have lost Biplav in the connection.
Okay. Mohan, is Mohan there? Okay, Mohan is also not there. Fine. We'll look at what is enlightenment. Okay. So, is Mohan joined? Or somebody else joined now? Biplavji, are you there? No. Okay. Fine. We'll go ahead. So the question is, what is enlightenment? And that also brings various secondary questions like, what is the state of an enlightened
Hello,
being?
I'm there, but actually there is some connection issue today I'm facing.
Okay. No. Are you able to hear?
Getting...
Are you able to hear us? Yeah, we are not able to hear you. That's okay. You can leave a comment in the chat. The question is, what do you think is enlightenment? You can probably leave a note in the chat. So enlightenment, first of all, what is enlightenment?
Yes, I'm.
You're able to hear, right? Okay. What is enlightenment? What are the qualities of an enlightened person? Is it possible to get enlightened? Are there stages in enlightenment? What is the path for enlightenment? All these various questions. But first, let's start with what is enlightenment. So, generally, the word itself in English, so there's a lot of difference in the word that is enlightenment in English and the words that are there in Sanskrit for that same realization or experience that they are trying to talk about. In English, generally it's called enlightenment. And in English, everything is called enlightened when you know about a certain subject. So let's say you know about physics, you're enlightened about physics. So whatever subject you know, the other person will tell you, please enlighten me about the subject that you know. So you knowing something about a subject, when we say subject, the objective world. The subject is always about the objective world, be it physics, chemistry, biology, science, programming, art, anything. It's to do with the external objective world. When you know something, and there is no way you can know completely. There is nobody on the planet can know in their lifetime any subject completely. The more they try to know any subject, the more you'll understand there's so much more to know. At the surface level, you're very happy. Let's say you start learning subject, you become very happy that, oh, I've started learning something new. The deeper you go in it, you realize how deep the rabbit hole is. Then you realize there is no way, if you spend this lifetime, another 100, 300, 500 years, you will know anything. Simple example, let's take some music or biology, or the people, the doctors who study MBBS, they do it for a very long time, more than like almost a decade they study, right? So the more they study, the more they become specialized. Okay, so they do the MBBS for a certain number of years, 5, 6 years, then do a specialization, which is actually going deeper into only one aspect. So somebody went to a doctor The doctor, I have this thing, ear pain. The doctor said, no, I am not a ear doctor. I am a general physician. You go to an ENT. Then the patient went to ENT. Then the ENT doctor said, no, I am a specialist in the left ear. You have a problem in the right ear. Please go to the right ear. Okay, so then he went to the right ear doctor, ENT, and the doctor said, no, I'm only specialized in this particular part of the ear, the drum. You have a problem in the some other part of the ear. So this way, the more you know, the less you know about the subject. Okay, but ironically, it's called as enlightened. In the Western world, popularly in English, when you know something, you're told as enlightened about something, but actually you know very little about any subject, and that is to be told as you're enlightened, which is, I don't know why it's said like that. Okay, so the answer to the question is there in the word light. Enlightenment is about light. Okay, and the light is not a physical light. The word in Sanskrit, in Sanatana Dharma, is called Gnanoday. इस आदमी को क्या हुआ ज्ञानोदय हुआ. The Gnan has, the intellect has blossomed. It's called as Mukti. So the synonymous, they're actually not synonymous, but in this context I'll make it synonymous. Enlightenment, Jivan Mukti, Atma Gnana, liberation. So Atma Gnana means enlightenment. Atma Gnana doesn't mean just knowledge. Atma Gnana means enlightened. So Gnan means enlightened in this context. Okay? So enlightenment means light. That's why you see a light behind the enlightened people. Have you seen the photos of enlightened people? Be it Ramakrishna, he has a light behind his head. Buddha has a light behind his head. Sri Krishna has a light behind his head. So the day you get light behind your head, you're enlightened. So that's very simple, no? Put one bulb. Problem solved. Enlightenment ho gaya. So the light behind the head is to symbolize the inner light. The person has awakened to the self, Brahman. Before they were sleeping to the self and awake to the world. So before, the world was Satya and self, Atma or Brahman, was Mithya, meaning unknown. Now the Jagat, the world, has become Mithya and the Brahman has become Satya. So when Brahman becomes Satya, the truth, reality, and world becomes Mithya. So this is the you say, how do I know I'm enlightened? Is the world real to you? Then you are still you are awake to the world, but sleeping to the self. When the self when the Brahman becomes real, then consciousness becomes real to you, and the self appears like a dream. Sorry, the world appears like a dream. Then you are enlightened. What we know as enlightened people, be it Buddha, Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi, Shankaracharya, these are all popular enlightened people. Okay, they are celebrities in the domain. But that doesn't mean there are other people. There are thousands and millions of enlightened people around us. But we will never know. We only come to know some great beings because of their popularity. But you could be living with an enlightened person, or there could be an enlightened person just down the road. You will never know, because enlightenment has nothing to do with external characteristics.
Okay.
It has nothing whatsoever to do with a dress or some miraculous power. So enlightenment is commonly associated with miracles. That's why it's popularly misunderstood and taken for granted. So if somebody does if you say enlightenment, the person should be able to do a miracle. Okay? And the biggest miracle of the enlightened people that we know have done is they have awakened the other person to the same light that they have. There is no other miracle greater than that. Of course, some extraordinary thing happening as a byproduct of you awakening will be there. See, because your enlightenment is about transcending the mind. When you transcend the mind obviously starts revealing its true potential. It's as good as the miracle is as good as looking at some prodigy or genius. It's just an extraordinary capability of the mind. But it has nothing to do with enlightenment. First thing to understand is enlightenment is not equal to miracle. Okay? So then people say, okay, enlightenment means you are saying I am God. So God should be able to do everything, right? Enlightenment means realizing that you are God, your pure consciousness, and that everything is also pure consciousness. So you're losing doership. To do a miracle, there should be a doer. In enlightenment, miracles may happen or may not happen. But don't ever think that the enlightened person is doing the miracle. So in the presence of the enlightened person, for example, in the presence of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, so many miracles happened. But many of the times, of all the times, Ramakrishna is a non-doer. Ramakrishna is not doing any of the miracles. The faith that people have in Ramakrishna inspires some miracle in their life. To give you an example, there was a very popular study done on the power of belief in the US on arthritis patients. Okay, arthritis is a disease of the joints. So what they did, they took, if there was 100% of patients, 50% they did the surgery and they did the operation for arthritis, and 50% they didn't do. They just opened and closed. Mock surgery. They didn't do the surgery. They just mocked the surgery, as in they pretended to do the surgery. They cut open the joint and they closed it back. Now they found in the results that there were more number of patients healing in the other 50% where they had not done the surgery. The power of the patient who believes that, oh, the surgery has happened, is healing their body. Okay, so somebody, when they go to a master or an enlightened being, the faith that they have heals them. Okay, so that's why people go to temples and sacred Tirthayatra and all those places. Yeah, of course, there is a grace from the divine's end, but the belief that if I go there, something will transform in my life is what really transforms the life. Okay, and that belief again comes from the inner self. So do not confuse enlightenment with miracles, with abilities. Abilities are a different game which you can enter and explore. Not like it's not possible, it's definitely possible. There are various scriptures on that as well in this beautiful country. There are masters for that. So it's called, in the tradition of Kriya Yoga, in the tradition that Paramahamsa Yogananda who has written the book called Autobiography of a Yogi. So in the Autobiography of a Yogi, he talks about a lot of miracles and people with powers. So that's a tradition. That's a way to use the body and the mind. To understand it better, just think about, compare yourself with the Olympic person. There's a huge difference physically. You will not be able to physically endure the things that they are able to endure. In the same way, somebody has worked on their mind, has some capabilities that you right now do not seem to have. With mentoring, just in the way like Olympics, with mentoring, with training, with a single-minded focus, they can be achieved. But they have nothing to do with enlightenment. Okay? Enlightenment means becoming free from all concepts. Light, that's why it said light. Light is, the light is consciousness alone is light, truth, reality. Everything else is a illusion, including miracles. That is the level of Atma Gnana. In Atma Gnana, you say, that's why in the text Patanjali Yoga Sutras, when Patanjali has written the Yoga Sutras, today is International Yoga Day. So the Yoga Sutras came from Patanjali Maharishi. He clearly mentions, as a byproduct of yoga, doing yoga sadhana, a lot of miracles will manifest in you, but they will start becoming a hindrance to enlightenment. Why? Because they put you in another illusion that I am able to do such a thing. It brings doership and individuality. Enlightenment means becoming free from I am doing, me, and mine. Okay. Now, how do you how do you recognize this in somebody? How can you say somebody has become free from I, me, mine externally? There is no way. Externally, there is no way to know whether somebody is enlightened or not. How can you judge the wisdom, the inner wisdom? So enlightenment has nothing to do with. So Meenakshi, you spoke about dropping relationships and desires. Enlightenment is about dropping not the desire, not the relationship. Drop the one who has it. It is definitely dropping. Tyage naikena amritatva manushahu. Enlightenment is got by dropping. But dropping what? Dropping the notion that I am the body and I am the doer. Instead of doing that, people drop everything outside because that's very easy. To leave a job is easy. To leave the wife is very easy. Okay, to leave the husband is very easy. But to drop the ignorance, the sense of I, is the most difficult.
Yes.
So you can drop anything externally, but it will still have power over you. Wherever you go, it will haunt you like a ghost. That's why there's a beautiful Zen story. There was a man. He was fed up with his. He had wife and children, and he was fed up with his life. He is very disturbed, stressed because of his job. He's not able to make ends meet, and he has heard about enlightenment. And he has also heard that the enlightenment means you have to leave your family, leave your job, and go to the mountain and meditate. So he leaves everything. He leaves his wife, family, children, job, sab kuch chhod diya, paisa, sab, and he makes the journey to the mountain. When he's going through towards the mountain, in between there's a river that he has to cross, and he sees both sides. He doesn't see a bridge. He doesn't see a way, and he cannot enter the river because it's too fierce. He needs a way to get onto the other side. He cannot find a way. Then he sees another old man on the other side. He asks the old man, "How do I get onto the other side?" And the old man looks this side and that side. He looks at him. He gets confused. He says, "But you are on the other side." And it is said, at that moment, this young man got enlightened and he went back home. Enlightenment is to realize what you truly are, where you are. It has nothing to do with external. It has nothing to do with external action. It has nothing to do with sadhana. It has nothing to do with karma. It is only clarity of understanding, because the problem is in thinking. The thinking has got corrupted. Your thought process is completely opposite of reality. Okay, so To give an example, does the sun go around the earth or earth goes around the sun?
Earth goes around the sun.
Huh? What?
Earth goes around the sun.
Goes around the sun.
Earth goes around the sun. But every day I see the sun is going around the earth.
What we see is not real all the time.
What? That is in your experience, no? It's not only what you see. In your experience, you are not moving. The sun is moving. It starts from the east and it sets in the west.
Maybe we are on the earth, we feel like that.
So, you are experiencing something which is unreal. Okay? How did you know that the sun goes around the, sorry, earth goes around the sun? Who told you? Who told you earth goes around the sun? Did you ever see it? Did you go into space and see it? Somebody told you, right? Who told you?
The studies, the scientists,
Teachers.
No study scientist. The third standard in second standard teacher told you, Miss Meenakshi or Miss Kamala or somebody told you in third standard or second standard, sun doesn't go around the earth, earth goes around the sun. Okay, and you did not question the teacher. Did you ever question, what nonsense are you talking, teacher? Every day I see sun is going. Can you prove it? Did you ever ask the question? Anybody here ask the question? Pradeep, did you ask your teacher?
No.
How can you believe such a statement without questioning?
Actually, when they show us in that
Picture.
planetary movement, so the logic will make us believe it. So still now we have certain, like, whatever discussion or science says us, which is not disregarding this logic. That's why we are agreeing on that.
That you're saying in retrospect. You're saying all that now because you have learned so
Huh.
many things.
Yeah. At that age,
That time you didn't know, no? You didn't know it was a scientific proof. Teacher could have told anything, you would have believed.
But over the time, I wouldn't have agreed on that. Maybe at that point, I would have believed. But like after that, they have given the proof, and in the sense, logic, why it is Earth, which is revolving around the sun, not other way.
Same scenario in Atma Gnana. Your experience is that the world is real, solid, and consciousness is unreal. Then some teacher comes who is called Guru, Satguru, and tells you, Are Baba, you're thinking ulta. Consciousness is real, matter is unreal. Okay? And if you have the right receptive mind, like the child had, the child never questioned. Teacher told, earth goes around the sun. Tomorrow, the next day, if the father tells that the sun goes around the earth, the child will argue. Okay, because why? My teacher said so, and my teacher is correct. The same way, the realized person, the realized master, the Buddha, Krishna, Sadguru is correct. Because they speak from that reality. They are established in the reality that Brahma Satya, Jagan Mithya. And later, as that is the first level. Then, as you said, then I studied and I grew up and I got matured and I saw that even the popular scientific researchers are saying the same thing. Same thing happens in spirituality. You receive the teaching, the direct teaching from the realized master that you are not the body, mind, intellect, you are pure consciousness. Depending on your level of receptivity, it enters, and later you go on to verify it yourself in your own experience and in the scriptures, like how you say scientists have all spoken about it. The spiritual scientists, the rishis or the Upanishads, everybody says the same thing. Any realized person in any part of the world has only one message. You are not the body, you are not the doer, you are not the mind, you are consciousness. This realization is enlightenment. There is nothing more to enlightenment. So what we know of enlightenment is all what we have got from TV serials and movies. ऐसा कुछ होगा, ऐसा कुछ लाइट आएगा, भगवान मेरे सामने आके खड़ा होगा, पूछेगा भक्त तुम्हें क्या चाहिए. सब कुछ नहीं होगा. So if you have such hopes, Bhagwan will come and stand in front of me and give me 3 wishes. Nothing will happen. Bhagwan will disappear, because Bhagwan is also a concept in your mind. When you yourself disappear, what will be left is Bhagwan. So the path of enlightenment is a path of neti. It's called neti. Neti means not this. Not this, not this, not this. You go on cutting out like a sharp scientist until you reach a dead end. You can no longer say not this, or there's nobody left to say not this. Okay, that is one way. Or somebody goes to a realized master. In the presence of the realized master, the Atma Gnana lights up. So the master doesn't even have to speak. So it's called Diksha. Have you heard the word called Diksha?
Yeah.
Diksha means, what is Diksha?
To achieve something eternally. I mean, it's like, how would I say? Maybe I can give an example.
Yes.
So in order to achieve something, until that we will be on that. So making our mind until we achieve a goal, anything.
So Diksha means, in Sanskrit, the meaning is there in the word. So when you break the word, the meaning appears. That's the beauty of Sanskrit. Aksha means eyes. Aksha. Aksha. Dhi means buddhi, intellect. So Dhi Aksha means awakening of the intellect, the third eye. It's called the third eye. You've seen the third eye in the Shiva, right? It's not that only Shiva has 3 eyes. Every being is the Shiva Swarupa. But the third eye is closed. What happens when the Shiva opens third eyes?
Everything ends.
Destruction.
Everything burns. When your buddhi gets awakened, that means to say in enlightenment, when the third eye opens, not the third eye as in the physical eye or something, when the intellect, when the Atma Gnana hits you, the world disappears. Not that the world will burn. It disappears. It disappears like you were going in the dark and you saw a rope and you thought it was a snake. Okay, and you got afraid. Then you switch on your mobile torch and you see it's just a rope. Okay, the moment you put the torch, the snake disappeared. You understand? It's still there. The rope is still there. And when you turn off your light, it still appears like a snake. But now you're no longer afraid, because you know it's not a snake, it's just a rope. In the same way, when the buddhi, when the guru gives the diksha, when the teaching, when Krishna gives diksha to Arjuna called Bhagavad Gita, the word, the snake, disappears. And he sees the rope, consciousness. Then again, when he comes back to senses, again, the world appears to be real, but now he knows the world is not real.
Kartika,
Do you understand?
switch off the TV. I'll give you work.
So to realize, to see the rope, and to get rid of all the conceptual world, including you,
Off the TV.
the
The
thought
TV and
of
come.
you, I, me, and mine is also part of that illusion of world. So everything disappears, and that's called diksha, and that is given by the guru. And diksha means teaching. And diksha can happen in multiple ways. One is the teaching through words. What is done by Sri Krishna, Buddha, Ramakrishna. Through words, they brought awakening in the disciple. So you can get enlightened just by shravana, just by listening. Okay? You heard that I am not body, mind, intellect, and the intellect transcends. Enlightenment is nothing like that. Just by listening to the words from the realized master. Okay? One way of Diksha. Another way of Diksha is, did anybody of you see the movie that I sent, Zen, on the life of Master Dogen? I sent a movie in the WhatsApp group. Did anybody see?
Yeah.
You saw Shanti Bhushanji?
Yeah.
Great.
So in the life of Dogen, when he met his Sadguru, enlightened master, the master didn't speak. They only looked at each other. And just by looking at him, he got enlightened. The master only looked at him. It's called the Diksha through eyes. That's why it's called Meenakshi. You have a name called Meenakshi, no? What is Meenakshi? Where is Meenakshi?
Here. I think it's like a fish eyes or something.
The Aksha means eyes.
Eyes.
Meena means fish.
Here.
So Meenakshi comes from the enlightenment tradition. How the master enlightened the fish hatches the eggs by looking at it.
Right there. Yeah.
The chicken hatches the eggs by giving warmth, by touch. That's what Ramakrishna did to Vivekananda. He touched Vivekananda. Dogen's Sadguru looked at him, just the way the fish looks at the eggs and hatches. Then there's tortoise. The tortoise lays the eggs, buries it in the sand in the beach, and it thinks about the eggs. Through thought, it hatches the eggs. So the enlightened master can bring about the Diksha through thought, eyes, touch, or words. These are the 4 ways of transmission of Atma Gnana. The silent, and then there's a 5th way, which is the most highest, which is from silence. No seeing, no speaking, nothing. This happened popularly in Sri Ramana Maharshi's case. He just used to sit silently. People used to come, just sit silently. In that silence, they would realize. That is the importance of the enlightened master. So we started the session by chanting one of the shlokas from the Guru Gita. Dhyana Moolam Gurur Murti, Puja Moolam Gurur Padam, Mantra Moolam Gurur Vakyam, Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. Moksha Moolam Guru Kripa. How do I get enlightened? How do I get enlightened? By the grace of the enlightened one. How do I wake up? Somebody who's already woken up wakes me up. The Morpheus has to enter the matrix and offer a blue pill and a red pill. Otherwise, there is no way he can even imagine that something like that. Everything that you can think about enlightenment is only imagination. It will be far from reality because it's a concept of the mind. Enlightenment is transcending the mind. Somebody who has transcended the mind has to help you transcend the mind. Otherwise, there are so many places in the mind you can get stuck. The mind is a beautiful illusion creating device. You understand? Especially in spirituality. So if you see, a lot of people get stuck in vain stages thinking they're enlightened just because they're able to see. This happened popularly in the case of one of the Maharashtrian saints. I'm not able to recollect the name. He was able to see Krishna. Like how Ramakrishna was able to see Kali, he was able to see Krishna. And he was so much with pride that I am able to see Krishna, and Krishna talks to me. He tells me the future, and it's all correct. He tells me about somebody, it's all correct, and I can help people. And he was like, I can see Krishna, you can't see Krishna. So he and the other saints were invited to a potter's house for a feast, Goraka Kumbara. So the chief guru tells Kumbara, the Kumbara is the potter. The way the potter evaluates that the pot is made is by hitting on the pot. It makes a certain sound. A pot that is baked, fully baked and finished, it makes a certain sound. And the pot that is not baked makes a certain sound. That's why he says, by hitting, he makes out which pot is baked, which pot is unbaked. So the guru says, there are all these saints here. Please tell us who is baked and who is unbaked. So he takes his stick and he goes on hitting people. He says, unbaked, unbaked, unbaked. Then the turn comes of this saint who is able to see Krishna. And he goes to him with the stick. Immediately the saint gets angry. How can you come to me? And Krishna is sitting right beside me. How can you even dare to test me? Okay? And without hitting, he tells Goraka Kumbara, says, this pot is completely unbaked. Okay? He has no realization. Then the saint gets very angry. He asks his guru. He says, just because you're able to see a divine form doesn't mean it's realization. You need a Sadguru to get realized. So he says there is a temple there. There is an old Shiva temple on the hill. Go there and you will find your Sadguru. When he goes there, he sees an old man with his feet on the linga. There is a linga, right? Shiva linga. And his old man is happily keeping his feet on the Shiva linga and sleeping. Immediately this saint gets angry. You're keeping your feet on God. How can you do that? Please move it. The old man says, okay, wherever there is no God, you please place my feet there. And wherever he tries to keep his feet, one Shivalinga comes there. And then he realizes this man is the Sadguru. And then he's given the teaching of Atma Gnana. And when he receives the Atma Gnana, Krishna disappears. The vision of Krishna disappears. He gets established in the pure Brahman, pure consciousness. Everything seen is unreal. Ramana Maharshi used to say, so many people used to come to Ramana Maharshi and say, I see God, I see this deity, I see that deity. Ramana Maharshi simply used to ask, okay, do you see them even when you sleep? They would say, no, I only see them now. That means they're unreal. What is there in waking, dreaming, deep sleep, intoxication, samadhi, all states is real. What comes and goes is unreal. Okay? So don't think enlightenment means seeing something. No. Enlightenment means realizing who is the one who is seeing. Enlightenment has nothing to do with a vision. Enlightenment doesn't have anything to do with sight. Okay? That's why it's called Atma Darshan. To see the self, to see the seer, not to see an object. And you can never see Bhagwan, because Bhagwan is not object. Bhagwan is the one who sees. Your eyes can see everything, but they can never see the eye itself. What you see in the mirror is not the eye, it's only a reflection. Your hand can hold everything, but it can never hold itself. Okay, your tongue can taste everything, it can never taste itself. The self, to know the one who is seeing, or rather, to reject the illusionary seer, is enlightenment. That's what we say. That's why you cannot say anything positive about enlightenment. You cannot say this is it. You cannot say this is enlightenment. It cannot be told in words. If it's told in words, it's not that. That's why in Sanskrit the word for Brahman is Tat. It is Tat. It doesn't say what. The word for God in India is Tat. The moment you say something else, you objectify it. Krishna is still objectified. Shiva is still objectified. The consciousness of Krishna or the consciousness of Shiva is the reality. The form of Krishna is a pointer to the consciousness. The form of Shiva is a pointer to the consciousness. The form of Shiva is what? The Ganga is coming out. To signify the consciousness is full of, consciousness is purity. If you experience your pure consciousness even for a second, the mind becomes transformed. You become free from sin. You don't have to go to any physical holy place. Okay? The physical deity is a pointer to the consciousness. In the same way, the physical guru is the pointer to the teaching of the guru. So if Krishna has left behind the Bhagavad Gita, you can consider the Bhagavad Gita itself as the Krishna. Krishna is Gita, Gita is Krishna. The teaching is what liberates you. And the teaching is this. The teaching is not so many pages of teaching. Only this much. Repeat after me. I am not the body. I am not the mind.
I'm not the body.
The mind.
I am not the mind.
I'm not the mind.
I'm not the mind.
I am not whatever I think I am.
I am not whatever
Not whatever I think I am.
I am pure consciousness.
I am pure
I am
conscious.
pure consciousness.
Okay, and that consciousness is Sat Chit Ananda. It is Sat. Sat means it's truth. Truth means it never changes. It is there always. It is Chit. It is aware. It is of the nature of awareness. It is of the nature of knowing. It can know. And it is Ananda. It is infinitely blissful. When you realize yourself as consciousness, you will experience Sat, meaning the Sat right now to you is word. The Sat right now to you is what you are seeing. You will realize that is Asat. What you're seeing is Asat. What is Sat is consciousness alone. Just the way the sun going around the earth is Asat. Then the third standard teacher told you Sat. What is the Sat? Earth goes around the sun. In the same way, Jagat Satya is Asat. Jagat Mithya is Sat. And when you realize that, the Asat disappears. You don't have to run away from it. When you say when somebody is saying I have to leave the world, they are giving reality to the world. Because you only leave what you think is real. Okay? If it is unreal, why leave it? What is the whole thing about leaving or keeping? There is no leaving nor keeping for the unreal. But if something is real, keeping and leaving, both are there. In enlightenment, you become free from both keeping and leaving. So it's like this. So a very wealthy man comes back to comes to a village where he has some property. He sees his property on fire. Okay? And he falls to the ground crying, oh my God, my property is in fire. Then immediately his son comes and tells him, why are you bothered? I sold it yesterday. Immediately he's relaxed. The fire is still there. The building is still burning. But he is no longer affected. Because he's no longer giving it reality. Because it's not mine anymore. Somebody else's is burning. But a second ago, when he thought it was mine, it was very real to him. Everything in that building was real. Curtain was real, the floor was real, the furniture that we had was real, everything was real, the land was real. The moment it's sold, it has become irrelevant and unreal to him. In the same way, when the world becomes unreal to you because of clear gnana, it will continue the way it is, but you will be completely unaffected because you have lost your I, me, and mine. Okay, that is called mukti. Mukti means to be free. To be free from I, me, and mine. Not to be free from husband or wife or job. If you all think after the end of Atma Darshana section, I will become mukta from this responsibilities, nothing, nothing will happen. You can never run away from your responsibilities, but you will become free. If the Atma Gnana dawns, you will become free from the one that is causing the suffering, which is the sense of I, and the illusion that I am the body, and the illusion that I am the doer. This is called Atma Gnana. It has nothing to do with external. It is only Gnana. It is the light of wisdom. Atma Jyoti, the light of the self. You realize, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am pure consciousness. Any doubts so far? Meenakshi, is enlightenment clear? What is enlightenment?
It's very clear, Krishnaji.
What is clear? What is enlightenment?
It's I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm pure consciousness. So
Okay.
it's like not detaching everything for us. Maybe it's like knowing
This
our
attachment, detachment is a concept of the mind. Pure, impure, divine, undivine, or sacred, unholy, positive, negative, all are concepts of the mind. In enlightenment, nothing exists, not purity nor impurity, because you have gone beyond the mind. Nor attachment, nor detachment.
attachment.
Enlightenment is becoming free from even detachment. Enlightenment is becoming free from all concepts. It is becoming free from the matrix. It is becoming free from all concepts. Then when you come back into the matrix, so what happens in the matrix after Neo gets enlightened? You know what he does in the end? In the matrix?
I haven't seen the movie.
Who has seen the movie Matrix?
But I don't remember the complete thing. I think when he realizes his true power and he was able to actually fight through. That's what I remember.
No, he
No
doesn't realize
obstacle
his true
was.
power. He realizes all this is illusion. In illusion, I can create anything.
That's right.
And in the end, he flies. Okay? So the Matrix is created by the Wachowski brothers, who are disciples, who are the students of the Advaita teachings. They based the Matrix on Shankaracharya's Maya and Brahman. So they write in their interview, and they talk in their interviews about they were exposed to Sanatana Dharma at a very young age by their parents, and they got highly influenced by Adi Shankaracharya's teachings. And the Matrix is a complete visualization of the teaching of Atma Gnana. Okay, so when you realize it's unreal, then you have the freedom to create the world that you want. And that is why the enlightened ones are able to create even enlightenment in other people. Not all enlightened people are able to do that. So enlightenment also, there are two kinds of enlightened people. Somebody gets enlightened, he realizes the world is unreal, and self is real, done. Somebody else gets enlightened, they are not only able to realize it themselves, but they're able to teach it and bring the same realization in somebody else. And that person is called Sadguru, enlightened master, like a Buddha or a Sri Krishna or a Ramana Maharshi or a Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. But you would probably have seen so many enlightened person, maybe in the mall, at the movies or theater or anywhere, but you don't know that they're realized. So don't think enlightened person means he is not supposed to go to movie. We project a certain lifestyle on, and that is again coming from the TV series and movies and the stories. Look at Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna was completely involved in life. He never said, it's a dream, I'll go away. No. The war is definitely a dream for Sri Krishna, but he doesn't run away from the war. On the contrary, Arjuna wants to run away from the war. Krishna, the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita is, the war is an illusion. It's a dream. And whatever has to happen in the dream has already happened. You be instrumental and watch the dream. Okay? So enlightenment is coming to the point where all dreams have disappeared, including the waking dream. What you are experiencing now is called Jagrata Swapna. It's a waking dream. You easily come out of the dreaming dream. In the night you wake up and you come out of the dreaming dream. The day you awaken from this waking dream is the day you have realized. It's called Mukti. And when is that day? Not somewhere in the future. Someday I'll get enlightened. That someday I'll get enlightened is also a concept of the mind. Time is a concept of the mind. It's a projection. Enlightenment is right now, here, at this moment. This moment realize your consciousness. Because enlightenment is not gaining something. It's not like I don't have it and I will get it. No. What you don't have, you have to work a lot to get. What you already have and you have forgotten, you only have to see. Like you have the necklace on you, on your neck, but it's covered with the cloth. You don't have to struggle and save and for years together to buy a necklace. All you have to do is open the button and see it's there. But to buy a new necklace, it's a lot of effort. So to realize consciousness, no action is required. Nothing is required. No doing on your part is required. What is required?
Realization.
To receive the teaching is all that is required. Shravana, that's why it's called Satkrit Shravana Matrena Brahma Gnanam Yato Bhavet. Only by listening to the teaching from the enlightened master, we become enlightened. Not someday, that very moment. Don't think I will listen to this teaching, okay, this person is saying something, then I'll make my notes, then I'll come back. Nothing. Yahi abhi jaan lo. And if something is blocking your understanding, ask the question. That's the process of Atma Gnana. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena. Krishna says in the chapter 5 how enlightenment happens. He explains the process of enlightenment. Tadviddi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te gnanam gnanina tattvadarshinaha. Tadviddi, that knowledge, that enlightenment, comes from pranipatena, by surrendering to the enlightened one first. Pariprashnena, by asking questions, not blind belief. You say, okay, you say this, the world is unreal, but I see it. You clarify your doubts. Pariprashnena, parisevaya. Then you serve the master. Serve the master means serve the teaching by contemplating. Upadekshanti te gnana. The gnana comes because of upadesha. What is upadesha?
Teachings.
Teachings. Yeah.
Teaching. The teaching can come, and the teaching I told you can happen in 4 ways. It can happen through the actual teaching. It can happen through sight. It can happen through silence. It can happen through touch. In these ways, but popularly it happens through speech. See, to grasp it just in sight or silence, it requires a very, very, very evolved category of student. Okay, because otherwise your mind, teaching itself, what is spoken by the enlightened one itself, is misinterpreted in so many ways. Silence and sight is next level. Okay, so popularly the enlightened one says, okay, love thy neighbor. It's the teaching. Then this person goes and has a relationship with the neighbor's wife, and tells the enlightened one has told, have love thy neighbor. So the human mind corrupts and interprets the teaching. That's the importance of dialogue. That's the importance of a living enlightened master. They correct you. If your thinking goes in some direction, they say, no, 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 that's not the way. Okay? So, upadekshanti te gnanam, gnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. You will also realize the same truth, same what the enlightened one has realized. When you realize, when you get enlightened, it will be the same thing that Buddha realized, same thing that Ramakrishna realized, same thing that Ramana Maharshi realized. There's no different experiences. There's no different realizations. It's the same realization. There's only consciousness is the same. To realize consciousness is to realize Sat. And the Sat has never changed. 1,000 years, 10,000 years, same. This is enlightenment and the way to get enlightened according to Sri Krishna and according to all the collective understanding of all the realized masters. So I'm not, I don't have any favorites, this guru or that guru or nothing. I will talk about all of them. And I'm telling what everybody, the common and the similarity between all of them. Every single teaching of any enlightened master ultimately comes down to this. Any scripture in the world on enlightenment ultimately comes down to, I am not the body, mind, I am not the doer, I am pure consciousness. I am not, only consciousness is. Okay, that was my 2 cents on enlightenment. Any doubts, anybody? Meenakshi, any questions?
No, Krishnaji, it's cleared.
Shanti Bhushan, any questions?
No question, just sinking in all this, whatever I've learned so far.
Yeah. Enlightenment is clear, everybody?
Yeah.
Thanks, Krishna.
So enlightenment is not a gaining something. It is to know who you are. The gnana of who you are liberates you. Liberates you from nothing external. You will not be liberated from your job. You will not be liberated from your house, your children. You will not be liberated from society. You will be liberated from all concepts. All concepts. Even the concept of enlightenment. Enlightenment itself is a concept. Enlightenment for whom? You are asking the question of enlightenment because you think you are bound. How can consciousness, what is the concept of enlightenment for consciousness? From the point of view of consciousness, what is enlightenment? Enlightenment point from the point of view of, it's like this, paisa is important from the point of view of Bhikhari. A billionaire, Jack Ma or Bill Gates, from their perspective, so even enlightenment is a part of the illusion. So you need to become free from even the illusion of enlightenment. That is enlightenment. To become free from even the idea of mukti. Because when you say, I want mukti, you're giving more reality to the ignorance. That is why I made you write, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am pure consciousness 108 times. Okay, again and again, just go back to the enlightened teaching. I am consciousness. From that perspective, you look at your questions and your problems in life. Just shift your attention to I am consciousness and then look at your life. What questions and what doubts you have about life then? Or what answers do you have about life? Everything disappears. Only a pure silence will remain. Because all the rejection or this is not correct, that is not correct, it has to be like this, people have to behave like that, all that is a concept of the mind. Now look at the world, look at the corona situation or look at the war from the perspective of consciousness. What problem you have with it? As a body, as a mind, as an identity, you have a lot of problems with everything, including God. Even God is not excluded from your problems. Right? As a body, you have a problem with God also. As a body, you have a problem with everything. As consciousness, there is no problem. Everything
Non-reactive.
disappears. Everything disappears. There's no acceptance also. Because it's not real. Why accept or reject unreal? सपने को क्या स्वीकार करना? सपने को क्या छोड़ना? सपने से क्या बहस करना? जो है वो है, सपना है. और सपना कौन देख रहा है? ब्रह्मन. वो देखने वाला मैं हूं. और सपने में जो भी होता है, मुझे कुछ भी नहीं होता. Whatever happens in the dream doesn't affect consciousness in any way. That's why consciousness is told to be still, non-moving. One, because it cannot move anywhere. Because there is no sense of space and time. To move, you need, okay, I am here, I can move here. So there is a point in space where I am, there's a point in space where I am not. So I can move from point A to point B. In consciousness, there is no such thing as a space where consciousness is not. Space is in consciousness. Like how the earth is in space, space is in consciousness. So where will consciousness move? So this whole concept of God is upar. सब खराब है. भगवान कहाँ है? Where is God?
Everywhere.
God is everywhere. God is not everywhere. Everywhere is in God.
Yeah.
God, what is that? He's beyond everywhere and nowhere. And when I say God, I mean consciousness. And when I say conscious, I mean you. You are a spaceless, timeless reality experiencing space and time. Because of that, you have a freedom to let go of the experience of space and time. It is something you have chosen unconsciously. If you were bound in space and time, there is no way you could become spaceless and timeless. If you were finite, it was impossible for you to become infinite. But in reality, you are infinite. You are spaceless and beyond time. And that's why you can eject from the pilot seat anytime. But you are the one holding, oh, I want to stay here. Just press the eject button and jump off. विप्लव जी कंफ्यूज हो गए?
Yes, kind of. You can say yes.
Which part is confusing?
I'll not say I'm confused, but rather I was just thinking like how to get enlightened, and how is the question. And so,
Who is asking the question?
if consciousness is, we are the consciousness. So when will we and how will we realize it? No. Yes, we have been doing this, and we wrote, and we practiced. We are saying, but how to do this? I mean, how and when this will happen?
तो
What to do for this?
मैंने अभी कहा, मैंने कृष्ण की श्लोका कहा. How? The answer is Krishna tells clearly. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevya upadeshanti te gnanam graninaha tattvadarshina. The answer to how is through the teaching of the enlightened one. Okay, through the interaction with the enlightened one. There is no other way. When it will happen this moment. कब होगा वो, it's the illusion of the mind. Mind is creating the future. So how it will happen also, it will happen by dropping. So you said we are doing practices and all that. So the Upanishad says, na karmana, na prajaya, na dhanena, tyage naikena amritatva manushuhu. No matter how many lifetimes of sadhana you do, you will not get enlightened. Because enlightenment is not a result of sadhana. It is not a result of action. It is a result of gnana. The right gnana. All that sadhana, what it does is, it takes you to a Atma Gnani Guru. That is the effect of sadhana. All the sadhana results in, fructifies as a realized master, and the realized master brings you teaching. That teaching will help you drop your false sense. You're holding on to the identity that I am not enlightened. I need to get enlightened. That is the bondage. The moment you drop that, you realize you're already enlightened. Who is not enlightened? Who wants enlightenment?
Who doesn't feel that he's enlightened?
Who is that? Who wants enlightenment? किसको चाहिए मुक्ति?
Who lack knowledge?
Huh?
Who lack knowledge?
Who is that?
I.
So there you are. You said I lack knowledge. So you've misunderstood your I as mind. Mind lacks knowledge. And mind can never get enlightened, because enlightenment is beyond the mind. And the real I from where you're getting the power to say I, no? That I is beyond enlightenment. Mind cannot, body cannot get enlightened. Okay, there's no concept of enlightenment for the body because the body dies. Body is actually not dies, it is dying every moment. Every moment the body is dying and taking birth. Thousands and millions of cells are dying, new ones are being born. Okay, the body, there's no concept or a logic of enlightenment. The body can never get enlightened. The mind can never get enlightened because mind means lack of something. Mind can never be complete. Okay, and mind means thought. Enlightenment is beyond thought. Enlightenment is absence and presence, both of them. Enlightenment is, it's like absence of thought, presence of thought. Mind is thought, enlightenment is beyond thought. Enlightenment is not a thought. So enlightenment is not for body, it is not for mind. The Atma, the self, yourself, pure I, doesn't need enlightenment because it's already enlightened. It is Brahman, it is pure consciousness. Who then gets enlightened?
It's the mind playing the tricks. It's the obstruction.
Sir, man ka khel hai. Everything is just a game of the mind. Even enlightenment is the last game of the mind. It's called the last game. Mind's last game is enlightenment, and it will end the day you realize that there's nobody to get enlightened. The one who says I need to get enlightened itself is false, and the reality is already beyond mukti. Consciousness doesn't need enlightenment. The jiva can never get enlightened. Body is illusion. Mind is a thought rising and falling. What is the concept of enlightenment for the mind? There is something somewhere that has taken reality as a constant character that says I want enlightenment, and that character is false. That character appears and disappears. It's appeared now. In sleep it takes up a different character. In deep sleep it disappears. How can there be an enlightenment for a fictional character? So it's like this here. You're sleeping. In your dream you see so many people. And the person comes to you and tells you, oh my God, I hear that you have Atma Gnana, please teach me and liberate me. And you know that it's a dream. By knowing that it's a dream, you also know that that person is not there. But that person is holding your feet and crying and telling, please give me enlightenment. What is the answer you will give to that person? Who wants enlightenment? And when the person searches who, koi bhi nahi hai. Because the person itself is a fictional character. You are a fictional character in the dream of Bhagwan. The moment you realize this, you're enlightened. And that moment is?
Krishnaji, sorry. So,
Pratik.
can you? Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you say that no one needs enlightenment, when you but like you said about the mind, that mind is playing tricks, and we want to get the thought away from the mind, right? So that we are free from the thoughts, and we know ourselves, we are self-aware. So isn't that our mind needs enlightenment, as in, because we want to get away from these thoughts? So our mind, so I think our mind needs enlightenment in some way, so that the thoughts will never come to us, and we are aware of everything. Whenever we go away from self awareness, then we want to come back. So mind will definitely need enlightenment.
Now ask. So when you started asking the questions, you have made a lot of assumptions. Okay, and
Okay.
all those assumptions are the games and thought process of the mind, unconscious, programmed uh, thought processes. Now, now you say, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am pure consciousness. And from standing from the standpoint of consciousness, ask the same question. If you say your consciousness, that means there is no thought required, no movement. Enlightenment is also a thought. Bondage is also a thought. Mind itself is a thought. You're using the word mind as if it's some entity. In reality, you experience the mind one thought at a time. Only one thought. And in that one thought, you feel as if you had thousands of thoughts. But actually, moment to moment, you're only seeing one thought. What you say as mind is absolutely, it's one false thought. What you say body is a thought. In a deep sleep, where's the body? Till now, for the last 2 hours, you're listening to me. Were you aware of your left leg? Now you became aware of the left leg when I told you have a left leg.
Yeah.
The body is a thought. Appears, disappears. The mind is a thought. Mind itself is a thought. World is a thought. It's one thought at one time. If you're able to pay attention to the background of the thought and not the thought itself, that moment you are realized. So tell me, as pure consciousness, what question do you have? Or you give the answer to the same question that you asked. Mind needs enlightenment when mind is real. Mind itself is unreal. How can there be enlightenment for a imaginary concept? It's a concept. Mind is a concept in consciousness. Consciousness has the ability, that's why it's called Chit. Sat, Chit Ananda. There is the ability of consciousness to conceptualize. And in that conceptualization of Brahman, the whole world appeared. Only at the concept level, nothing actually got created. So this whole thing that they say, no, God created the world. God never created the world. God only conceptualized it, and in that concept we all are existing. It is still only conceptual. Nothing has materialized yet.
Yeah.
Making sense. Pratik, did you
Yes, Krishnaji. Yes.
what did you understand?
That that mind is also not as in me. So mind also doesn't need enlightenment.
Enlightenment is also ultimately
Internet
a concept.
issues.
But until it has some utility value, because that's what takes you ahead in the journey. But once you come to the stage of Atma Gnana, once you come to the stage of uh, meeting a enlightened master, then it becomes a concept. Until that, it's a reality. Everything for that matter. Even the master itself, master himself or herself, is a projection. But until you can become free, you need it. So it's like the example given in Vedanta is the example of death. When the person dies, they are stacked up on wood. They're wood stacked together, and the body is placed on the wood. Then there's one exclusive wooden piece that's lit, with which you light the body. Have you seen that? Like in the movies and in the olden days, they would put sticks together, place the body on that, light up one torchlight fire, and then light the body, and finally, whatever they're holding, throw that also into the fire. So that last what you're holding is called Sadguru Gnan. Finally, even that is thrown, because that is also part of Maya, projection. Then everything is burnt. All concepts are burnt, including the concept I am enlightened. If somebody says I am enlightened, they are not enlightened. Okay? Who is enlightened? Even that concept of I am enlightenment is gone in the enlightened being. There is no I am left. Brahman. That's why the enlightened beings don't feel a need to behave in a certain way. Oh, I am an enlightened being. What do people think? I should not speak like this. I should not talk like this. Nothing. Enlightenment means freedom from all concepts. They can act like a beggar today, act like a prince tomorrow, act like a teacher, act like a musician, do anything. They are not you. There is nothing that can bind them. And there is nothing binding you also. You feel that you are bound. Everything that's binding you, please understand, is only conceptual. It is not real. Have you seen? I don't know if people who have been in India and gone on wildlife tours. Have you seen elephants in real life?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that the elephant is tied? The giant elephant is tied with a tiny rope to a small stick. Have you observed that? It's not tied with a metal chain or something. Very tiny rope to a very small stick. The elephant can bring down a house, but it doesn't move away from that stick, from that rope. You know why?
Smile.
Because from the childhood, its mind is so like programmed, like, so during its childhood it could not get rid of that wooden block, but
Yeah.
it thinks in the adulthood that I can't even do it now, so that's why it stays like that.
So what is the bondage of the elephant? Is it physical?
No,
Mental.
mental.
It is conceptual. It's mental. So life, it's a mental, conceptual concept only. The elephant it's like asking, when can the elephant become enlightened? The moment it realizes its strength. And how long does it take? It sees another elephant, showing its strength. It realizes. Same thing for you. Just recognize the no mind, and you will recognize the no mind. Recognize the no mind outside of you in the form of the Sadguru, you will recognize the no mind. Because ultimately everything is your projection. Even the guru and the deity is your projection. The self itself, your inner self, appears as the enlightened master. That's the last projection. So it's 5 o'clock our time. We have completed 2 hours. If there are any questions, and if it's a short answer, we can take up. Otherwise, if you want to close, we can close. What do you want to do? Any questions?
Really, what I understood from this enlightenment, just to reiterate, the main discussion that we had in earlier sessions is to reduce the number of thoughts that we have it in our mind and concentrate or be in the consciousness or reality, or not reality, I don't know,
Previous
consciousness
sessions,
or awareness.
previous session is dead now.
Okay.
Last session, whatever I've thought, is dead now. What I spoke about in the last session and the previous sessions is karma and all that. From the point of view of consciousness, for whom is the karma? For whom is the thought? Or from whom is the desire to get rid of thought or reduce the thought? The mind itself is telling, I don't want to have thoughts. It's another trick of the mind. So today you have come to a whole different level of teaching. So forget everything of the past, including whatever maybe even I have told. So
No, why I am saying it? Because this enlightenment is also one of the thought. So if we eradicate that and concentrate on the consciousness and experience the life, that is the enlightenment that I need to clear off. That's what I understood.
yes, I am
Okay.
pure consciousness. And don't, so another thing will come that I need an experience. I don't experience myself as consciousness. You experience the earth, the sun going around the earth. It is unreal. But you know that the earth goes around the sun, but you don't experience it. Do you experience earth going around the sun? No. You experience the opposite, which is unreal. So what is the experience of enlightenment? So enlightenment itself is called bhavatit. Atit means beyond bhava. It is beyond all experiences. Don't ever say that, okay, because I have not had a certain experience, it's not enlightenment. Enlightenment has nothing to do with experiences. All experiences are concepts because they appear and disappear. Nobody can retain any experience for long. And enlightenment is not experience. It is sat. It is beyond experience. It is perpetual. And what is perpetual is already in your experience, which is knowing, which is existence. At any point of time, you exist. Even in deep sleep, when the body has disappeared, the mind has disappeared, you exist to know that the body and the mind has disappeared. That existence is there in the waking, dreaming, and deep sleep. That's why it's called Pragnanam Brahma. The ability to know. You know and you exist. And that is a direct experience to you. Nobody else can take that away from you nor give it to you. In a dark room, you might be doubtful of the presence or absence of so many things. But will you ever doubt your presence? I ask you, do you exist? What do you say?
Yes.
Yes. In the waking, you exist in some body. In the dreaming, you exist as somebody else in some other body. In the deep sleep, you exist without a body. What is common is existence, and that existence is called Sat. And that existence is of the quality of knowing. It knows. It knows presence and absence. You are able to know the presence of thought and the absence of thought. Why are you particularly getting attracted to one? Either you are getting attracted to thought, or you say, I don't want thought, I want silence. Drop both. Get attracted to Atma, Brahman, the one who is beyond. So the final teaching is Atmava are drishtavyam shrotravyam mantitavyam. This comes in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where sage Yagnavalkya tells he's giving the teaching to his wife Maitreyi of Atmagnana. He says the only way is Atmava are drishtavyam shrotravyam mantitavyam. Your only focus should be pure consciousness, Atma. Take back your attention back to the truth. At any point of time, if you're getting confused, if you're disturbed, you're paying attention to object and unreal. Shift your attention to the self. Then everything will disappear. And that moment you're enlightened. To say that, oh, I'm enlightened, I'm not enlightened, all that again is still the concept of the mind. It's a program of the society. Come out of that. Start living by your own experiential truth. This very moment, are you able to recognize Sat, Chit, Ananda? Are you able to recognize Sat? Are you there? Are you right now there? Sat is there. Everybody? Sat. Chit.
Yeah.
Are you of the nature of knowing? Are you of the nature
Yes.
of knowing?
Yes.
Ananda. Ananda is bliss. Bliss also doesn't mean ecstasy. So popularly, enlightenment is associated with some sort of ecstasy feeling, joy in the body. Nothing. If you want to experience that, take some intoxicants. Ananda means deep inner silence, because of non-duality, because of the non-existence of the other. When there is something apart from me, then there is trouble, stress. When you realize that there is nothing apart from consciousness, there's a deep relaxation. That is Ananda. So at least Ananda also you're experiencing. Throughout the day you experience Ananda. But you only focus on the stressful time. And your mind generalizes, okay, at 10 a.m. I was stressful, at 11 a.m. I was stressful, so 10 to 11 I was stressful. Actually, when you're actually involved in some work, you're in Ananda. Mind is absent. Ananda is absence of the mind. Mind only comes some points in time. Like when you're listening to me continuously, the mind is silent. You're in Ananda. Okay? When you have to ask a question, then the mind pops up. So Ananda is a perpetual state, but you're trained yourself to pay more attention to the noise. So meditation is paying more attention to Ananda. But without meditation, just by Gnana, you know that you are Sat, Chit, Ananda right now. So Shanti Bhushan, are you enlightened?
Yes, I am enlightened, and I think I don't need to go to temple and all these things are concepts, like the deities, the gods, goddesses, everything is concept. And as an enlightened, I do not need to actually say prayers or go to temples and do the rituals that we do in Hindu rituals, like whatever, yagna, or giving flowers and holding hands in front of an idol. These are all concepts.
Absolutely. So Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa got enlightenment by his master by his Sadguru called Totapuri. Before Totapuri came into his life, he used to see Mother Kali, and he used to go in the Ganga every day and offer argya to Surya. After Totapuri gave him Atma Gnana and Mukti, self-realization, he went the next morning. He could not, lift his hand. To whom should I offer? To whom should I bow down to? The he is there when me is there. When me disappears, only he remains. So wherever I walk is the pradakshina for God. Whatever I see is a form of God. I don't need an exclusive form. So Pradeep, are you enlightened?
Enlightenment is just a concept for me.
विप्लव, मुक्त हो गए आप? कब होंगे मुक्त? कैसे होंगे मुक्त?
अब हो गए, अभी हो गए. Yes.
मुक्ति का भावना छोड़ दो, अभी मुक्त हो गए.
Right now.
हाँ, अहम को छोड़ दो, मैं को छोड़ दो, मुक्ति अभी है. But we want to find mukti with retaining me. Just drop the I, just drop me. You will see what is there is mukti only. Mohan, where is Mohan? Mohan is muktan. Can't even see him. He's gone beyond form. Okay, he's not there. He's there. Are you listening?
Yeah, listening, everything.
Okay. So you want enlightenment?
Yeah.
Who wants enlightenment?
Not me.
Not you. Children want enlightenment. So today is anyway Father's Day.
Yeah.
Okay, Meenakshi, clear all the enlightenment questions?
Yes, Krishna. Everything clear.
Are you enlightened?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I even shouldn't think that I am enlightened.
Who doesn't know? Who knows or who doesn't know?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Peace. Inner peace.
Nothing is enlightened. Enlightenment is called nirvan. Buddha got nirvan, no? Another beautiful word for enlightenment is called nirvan. No vani, no sound, no thought, no speech. Whatever you utter is false. Okay? Have you seen two people talking? Have you just observed people talking? Everything that they say can be not said. Meaning everything that they say is unnecessary. Small talk. Have you heard small talk? Everything that you say. That's why the enlightened one, many enlightened people are silent. Ramana, what to say? At least the only thing that some gurus retain is the teachings of Atma Gnana. Apart from that, they'll have nothing to say. From the many years I go to office, I do not talk. Nothing comes out of my mouth to tell anything. If it's something about work, okay, I tell, okay, whatever is about work, I'm very clear about this thing, and I tell it in a very clear way. But apart from that, apart from what is necessary, nothing can be spoken. Nirvani. It's called nirvana. No, enlightenment is no sound. Enlightenment, even no sound about enlightenment also. Otherwise people make sound. May enlightenment, enlightened ho gaya. No sound. Pratik?
Yeah. Um, Enlightenment is a concept, but yes, I'm getting self-aware. I'm by the session, by today's session.
Who is getting self-aware? Self is of the nature of awareness.
Yes.
Who is getting self-aware? So there is something outside of the self that is becoming aware of the self?
No.
You are only realizing the falseness of the snake. In the session, I'm only putting the torch and showing you that rope is not a rope. Sorry, that rope is not a snake, it's a rope. It includes you also. You are what you say you. Again, when you say you and I, you are falling down to the body and mind.
Yeah.
Always remember to internally know yourself as pure consciousness. Then see, then look at the mind, then look at the questions, then look at the world. It will look completely different. And that different
Yes.
and the difference is enlightenment. And it is very true that they say in enlightenment the world looks very different. The sky looks much bluer, the leaf, the tree much looks greener, the taste is more tastier. It's true. Because your every experience you're having as if it's a first time experience. The mind is not interfering with its memory. Now when you see a coffee, yesterday also I had coffee, today also I had coffee. Your mind corrupts it with the past. In enlightenment, it's as if it's the first time you're having coffee. Each time you have coffee. First time, if you have a spouse, it's like you have a spouse every day you have a new spouse. Otherwise, the mind is projecting, oh, same spouse. Yesterday also same spouse, today also same spouse, same husband, same children. Every day you get new husband, new wife, new children, new job, new money. Everything is day to day then. Enlightenment is always moment to moment. Mind misses the moment and is only in the past and future. Okay? Anybody else? Did we miss? All clear? Any questions? Or can we close? We'll close? Okay. Harihi Om.
Hari Om.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Shri
Shri
Gurubhyo Namaha.
Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi Om.
Hari Om.
Loka Samasta. Loka Samasta.
Loka Samasta.
Sukhino Bhavantu.
Sukhino
Sukhino Bhavantu.
Loka Samasta.
Loka Samasta.
Sukhino Bhavantu.
Oh, Bhavantu.
Harihi Om.
Hari.
Hari Om.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha.
Harihi Om.
Hari.
Hari Om.
My pranams to all. See you all in the next session.
Thank you.
Pranam.
Thank you. See you, everyone.